It's the end of summer. It's a beautiful day today. We need to get the garden cleaned out before the rain comes and the weather gets worse. So come along with me. We'll clean a little bit of the garden. For those of you that don't know, I'm Ricky and we are at Connerty Meadows Farm. So many of you know we planted potatoes this year by just literally cutting and dropping into the holes. We also harvest our potatoes with using just our hands. So these are just kitchen gloves, and I just dig. That way I know I'm not damaging my potatoes with any tools. But look at all these potatoes. And this is simply by just dropping, cutting and dropping. No extra curing or anything else like that. Look at these beauties. Are they gorgeous? These little guys, we'll usually keep them and we'll overwinter them. And these little guys will be our seed potatoes for next year. And as you can see, I'm just scooping with my hands, so I'm not damaging anything. And look at all those beauties. My. Yeah, oh, look, there's a little tiny one there. See? Be careful, sometimes they're really small. That'll be a seed potato for next year. We're getting ready to take the fabric barrier up, and the first thing we need to do is find all of the metal clips. Let me pull those out. Some of them are in there pretty good. All right, and once we pull out all the clips all the way down the line, then we're able to take the fabric up out of the garden. And we take it out so that we can till the garden. Get it? There we go. The next thing on my list to gather up is all the seed beans. So this guy here is a good example. He's all crispy. Here. So that one is ready to, I will take that out of the pod and I will store that, but for now I'm just collecting it. So I'm gonna put it in a bin. The other ones that I'm going to look to collect are ones that are big. This one's not big enough, so this one will get fed to goats. Oh, up here. This one's starting to think about drying. So this one and this one here. These are all big ones. So I will be pulling these for seeds. And then as soon as I get in tonight, I will be taking them out of the pod so they have a better chance of drying. Oh, I got two garden helpers. Now these guys are new. That's Nala. And, sorry. This one's Nala. And the little gray one down there is Ash. Ash like a wood fireplace, Ash. All right, so I'm just gonna get picking here.
Here we pull the tractor into action. We have in the past tried to take T-posts out by hand. It's really not recommended and you end up hurting yourself. So my dad always says that why do something manually when you have a tractor there to do the job? So I tie the chain in such a way that it won't slip, and then it's really easy. You just raise the bucket and out comes the T-post. At this point I have to be very careful though, because sometimes the T-post comes out in a little bit hurry and you whack yourself in the head with it. So there is still a skill to it. It's just not as manually difficult as it could be. And then we just set the T-post aside, pull forward, and get ready to pull the next one out. It is a little slow, but it's a lot faster than trying to do it by hand, of course. Thomas gets pretty close, and then I just give him the hand singles, bring him up closer, and then I just wrap And he just gets the easy job of sitting there and moving a little lever every once in a while. And out comes the T-post. Easy peasy. We're taking down the bean trellis. It's actually a lot harder to take down than put up because all the beans are interwoven in it. And I don't want to bust any of the shafts because we use them in the following years. Now, the main support beams we've left in place, and we leave them in place until we take the top off. Right now we're just taking the smaller ones off.
Fabric barrier, it's all pulled off here off the garden. That row there is clean. So what we're actually doing is we're taking this row and I'm sweeping it. Then we flip it over, we sweep the other side. Then we're adding it all one on top of another there. And then I will take and roll that up and that'll get stored away for next season. Just a few things left to do for the garden before winter. I will be gathering up leaves and putting them down on top of my strawberries. I'm not going to till the garden this fall. We're just actually going to get some poop and put it on, and then it'll be tilled in the spring. Normally we would till in the fall and again in the spring, but I'm still harvesting some of the celery and I'm still waiting to see if I get seeds off my broccoli. It's getting very, very close. Anyway, we took everything out of the garden. We fed it to the goats. So we're just gonna leave it. I have put the white tree protectors on all my trees. I just have to tie them to their T-posts. And then I left those sunflowers for the birds. The last thing I need to do is trim back all of the raspberries, and we put straw down in between them. I am not doing that quite yet because we are still calling for a few nice days, and I am seeing some bee activity on some of the raspberry flowers, so I'm gonna leave them as long as I possibly can to feed the bees. And then that's it. Then our gardening season is over for another year, which makes me very sad. But I have a winter of planning to do, so yay! More garden stuff for next year. We got all the beans harvested yesterday, so today I am working in the garage because it's pouring rain, which is one of the reasons why we pushed to get the garden dismantled. And I am shelling them so that I can save the seeds. This is the bucket that we picked from. So some of these are green and some of them are actually dry. But I'm actually shelling all of these because it is the end of the season. And then this is what they look like. Some of these are pretty wet. I put them into a cardboard box so that I can come down and move them around. You can see that there's definitely some green ones in here. And you'll see that I have many different colors in here. At least that's what it looks like. But I actually only have 3 varieties in here. And let me show you. So this is a box that I did quite a while ago. And I'm just doing the same thing. I just move them around. So I have 3 varieties, like I said, in here. Let me see if I can pick them out for you. Let's see if you can see the difference. Oh, 2 the same. There we go. Okay, so this one is Blue Lake. So it's a green climbing bean. This one is Kentucky Wonder, the darker brown one. And it is also a green climbing bean. And this one here is the purple peacock. And it's the purple climbing bean. So I am able to put the 3 of them in the same bin and just constantly move them around because I can easily pick out what my 3 varieties are. If your beans happen to be a lot of the same color, doing what I'm doing might not work out so well. But when you're looking at beans that all look like this, it's really hard to know what kind they are. This one, my guess is, oh, and my guess was wrong. My guess was going to be Blue Lake, and it is actually Purple Peacock. So it's really hard when they're dry to be able to tell which kind they are. So if you can pick them from the right kind, from the right side, you might have better luck. Okay, I'm gonna go with, too late, I opened up. This one is the Kentucky Wonder. So that's all that looks like. If you take a green one, you'll notice that the seeds are all white no matter. So this could be a Blue Lake, this could be a Kentucky Wonder. It's hard to tell just because they just need time to dry. And these guys will dry up the color that they're supposed to be later. And then the purple peacock ones, let me see if I can find the purple one in here. Oh, here we go. Purple peacock ones, believe it or not, when they are still in their pod, they too are also not colored. See? They're also white. They won't stay white. They just start white until they dry. They actually will be that brown color. So that's why it's important to get them out and get them all dried off. Sometimes you'll grab a bean off the plant and it looks like it should be big enough to save the seeds from. When I crack this one open, I can tell those are not seeds that are ready to be harvested. They're way too small. So this will just actually be put here. This pile here is going to go to the goats. They enjoy all the bean ends. So they trick you sometimes. You think that they're fat enough and they're really not. So that one was a purple peacock at one point. You see the color difference compared to the last one that I did that was really, really white. But these will still darken up. This was a fairly soft pod, not so crunchy yet. So these guys still have some softening up to do. That's it. It's pretty easy to save seeds. Just a few more tips for saving bean seeds. Definitely pick them after you've had a few days of a dry spell. If you have rain and you're trying to collect these seed pods, you hear that? You can hear them rattling around in there. But what happens if you've had rain and you try to collect these and say you just set them aside somewhere and you can't get to them for a while, they will start to sprout in there and they will rot. Let me see if I can find one that's actually started to crack open. Okay, here. So this little guy right here. Let me flip you around. So I'm going to actually have to pull this one out. I can't save this one, but you see how it's already slipped its skin? So that's the beginning stages of its sprouting, and that's because this one got too wet in its shell. So this one I'm actually going to put over here with the goat pile. So that is one thing to do keep in mind, is that you definitely need to have a few dry days. I'm just going to take you through and show you what we've harvested from the garden. So here behind me, these are all of my tomatoes that were ripe and unripe. And you can see they're definitely starting to ripen up. Most of these tomatoes were green when we picked them. What I do is I just put them on a table and then I put a piece of paper down underneath. You will have some that are going to rot during this process. I have one over here. It's definitely disgusting. I come through every day, or maybe every other day, and I scoop off all the yucky ones. I put them in a 5-gallon pail, and those get fed to the goats. So the other thing we have down here, let me put you down. So we've got our pumpkins down here. I have my squash in there. I have apples in there from my mom. Over here are my carrot tops that went to seed. So I'm going to be keeping these and I'm going to be taking the seeds apart. I'm not going to go into detail about this because I've never done it before. So I want to try it out, see how I do. If it works well, I'll know at the end of harvest next season, and I'll take you through the steps of what I've done here if I'm actually successful. Then we have some more over here, and then this little pile here. These are nasturtium seeds. And again, it's kind of a lot like the bean seeds. I'm just letting them dry out, and then I will have my nasturtium seeds. And then I will show you, pop over here. You'll have to excuse this. This is the garage, and it kind of is a huge mess right now. But, okay, so up here drying on this homemade drying rack, I have some zinnia heads. I have some of my corn. I have some more beans. I have some mullein, and I have some sunflowers that were really pretty that I wanted to keep the seeds from. And then down here, I have some squashes. And then this is my potato box. This potato box is just in my garage. Thomas made this for me. We used to have a beautiful cellar in our old house that he made for me, but we don't have that here. So our garage doesn't actually ever completely freeze in the winter. It does get cold, but it doesn't freeze. So we can keep this stuff in here safely. So this is my lid. And then, and you can't really see because potatoes need to be in the dark. So the box goes to the ground and I'm filled about a quarter of the way up. And these are all the ones that we harvested yesterday. So, and yes, you leave the dirt on. You don't take the dirt off. These guys need to have the dirt left on. I will come in, I will periodically move the stuff around in here just to keep everything rotating and dry. Normally what you would do with potatoes is you'd actually kind of spread them out on a tarp and turn them for a day or two so that they would have a chance to dry. Unfortunately, we had 2 days of a lot of rain and then 3 days of no rain, and I had to wait for the ground to dry enough to get them out. And then we had today and tomorrow of more rain. So I dug them up yesterday knowing that it was going to rain again. I had to get them out of the ground so they wouldn't rot. So this is the best I can do. They're not curing as much as I would like for them to, but if I just keep turning them, we should be all right. The last little thing I have in my garage is actually one of those little potato bins. And inside of it is all my garlic. So I've planted all the garlic that I'm going to plant this year. So now what's left is our eating garlic. And it is in one of those like old-fashioned potato bins where you put potatoes on the top and onions on the bottom. But I use it for my garlic. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the farm. We'll see you next time.